NetherRealm games are known for their great DLCs, especially when it comes to the guest character ones, and Mortal Kombat is a great example of bringing in some great characters into a franchise to do crossovers that people never thought they were gonna see. Salutations everybody, my name is Chester, but you can call me Diego, where today I'm back with another Mortal Kombat wishlist. Where last time we did a base roster wishlist that looks like this. And today I'm going with my DLC characters wishlist that includes both guest and Mortal Kombat original characters. I'm going to start with the guest ones since they're easier to come up with, starting with my number 1, Ash Williams. It's a known fact now that Ash Williams was going to be a DLC character for Mortal Kombat 11, but due to complications with what I imagine has to do with the rights of the character, the deal fell off. Which is a shame because Ash Williams would have been a perfect fit for MK11. And I'm not letting up. I want Ash Williams in a Mortal Kombat game, and hopefully Mortal Kombat 12 will be that game. My next character is a little tricky, but I really want to see them come back, and that is Kratos. Kratos is one of the best guest characters in Mortal Kombat history. He's a perfect fit for the franchise, and with all the changes he's gone through since 2011, I hope to see him come back for another Mortal Kombat game. While Kratos was a PlayStation exclusive character, and I don't think NRS will do that again, it'll be really cool to see him with the Leviathan axe in a new Mortal Kombat game. Mortal Kombat is known for putting in horror movie villains into their games, and they have put most of the most iconic ones. But my next character, Ghostface, would be a perfect fit too, especially since the newest Scream movies have been a huge hit. I think they could do some really cool stuff with him in the game, and I hope they do. And speaking of horror movie villains, my next pick is one that I feel like is the next step for NRS to finish the major horror movie slashers to put into their games. I mean, they had Freddy Krueger in Mortal Kombat 9, Jason in Mortal Kombat X. All that's left is Michael Myers. People say that the reason he hasn't been put into one of the games until now is because his moveset will be too similar to Jason's, and personally I disagree. NetherRealm has found ways to make characters with similar powers stand out from each other. Just look at Superman and Supergirl, or Sub-Zero and Frost. I think they would find ways to make Michael Myers stand out from Jason in more ways than one. And now that I mentioned Superman, I can mention my next pick to be DLC in Mortal Kombat 12, and that is Homelander. I mean, Homelander would fit so well in Mortal Kombat. He loves killing people, and his personality would make for some really interesting banter between him and the other Mortal Kombat characters. And since NetherRealm loves evil Superman, they could go all out with Homelander. My last pick for a guest character is another horror movie character, and that is Pennywise, which is another horror movie villain that would be great for a fighting game. I mean, he can basically turn into anything, which would make for a really cool moveset, and just any major horror movie villain could fit so well into Mortal Kombat. And Pennywise, I feel like, has been teased before. I might be remembering wrong, but he would be a great fit. And those are my guest characters. If your picks for your guest characters didn't get mentioned, stay tuned for some honorable mentions at the end of the video. Now it's time for the Mortal Kombat characters that I think or hope come as DLC in Mortal Kombat 12, starting off with Ferrator. And I know this first pick is kind of controversial, but Ferrator is a really cool idea for a fighting game, but they didn't really do anything with them in Mortal Kombat X. But I feel like they deserve a shot to come back as DLC to redeem themselves a bit. You know, 2 characters in one was so cool, and I feel like they wasted them in Mortal Kombat X, so yeah, I would love to see them come back. In my past video, Havik is in my base roster, and you can't have Havik without Hotaru, his polar opposite. Having them interact with the game would be really fun to see, and Hotaru as a character is really interesting, and they could do a lot with him and Havik's dynamics, so I hope we see him as DLC in Mortal Kombat 12. Next up is a character that has always been a fan favorite, and now even more with him being such a badass in Mortal Kombat X, and that is Kenshi. It honestly surprised me why he didn't come back for Mortal Kombat 11, and while I don't think he'll be in the base roster, having him as DLC once again would be giving him the Rain treatment in Mortal Kombat 11, which people really like, so I feel like people are open to the idea of Kenshi being DLC again, and I'm one of those people. Next up is another character that people have been begging to come back, and they kind of teased us with it since they showed up in the Mortal Kombat X story mode, but they weren't playable and was only in a handful of cutscenes, and that is Serena. I honestly hope she comes back because she's a really cool character from the 3D era that they didn't do much with, and it sucks because she has so much potential, especially her relationship between her and Sub-Zero. They could do some really cool things with her. This next character was one of the new fighters I liked less in Mortal Kombat X, but I do see the potential with what they could do with him, and I hope they do, and that's Kung Jin. He would be a really cool to see come back even as DLC. I love bow and arrow, so on paper Kung Jin sounded really cool to me, and I was really excited for him, but he was kind of boring, kind of annoying in the story of Mortal Kombat X, which honestly sucks because the cousin of Kung Lao, it baffles me how he ended up being boring to me, but I hope he gets redeemed in Mortal Kombat 12, even as DLC. My last pick for DLC is one that I do think has a chance of being in the base roster, but I think as DLC is more probable, and that is Noob Saibot, one of the coolest characters in all of Mortal Kombat. His design in Mortal Kombat 11 was amazing, and I can only imagine how cool he'll look in Mortal Kombat 12, which I hope they bring him back as DLC. So, we'll see. And that is my DLC characters wish list. Now, I have some honorable mentions which has both guest and original characters, and these are Doomguy, John Wick, Ashra, Hydro, Raiko, Drawman, Moloch, Deathstroke, Pinhead, Mocap, and Ko Young. These characters, no matter which one ends up appearing, I would also be happy if any one of these characters came back for Mortal Kombat 12 as DLC or in the base roster. It would just be really cool to see them in the game. And that's it. Those are my DLC characters wishlist for Mortal Kombat 12. Obviously not all of these are gonna happen. Sometimes NetherRealm makes their DLC characters basically like line up with some of the Warner Brothers movies that come out in the year of the game, and while that sucks, some of these characters I really want to see come back or just appear as DLC, and I hope all of this comes true. Maybe more DLCs are going to be ended up, more than 12. Maybe we'll end up with a roster of 40 with DLC characters added, since now I have 36 in my list, and they like to round up the characters, so maybe it will end up being 40 characters with the DLC included, but we'll see. Thank you guys so much for watching. The support in my original wish list is crazy. It became my most viewed video so quickly, and I love interacting with you guys in the comments, talking about which characters could and which characters you thought couldn't come back for the base roster. It's really cool to have these sort of interactions, and we'll see how this one ends up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay weird. Remember, Pluto's little planet. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.